Good evening. I hope you've been having a wonderful Wednesday and hope you've been staying in and staying warm and staying safe this week. Just a few things that I would like to announce as far as announcements go. One thing is if you get a printed bulletin and you're watching this, you may not or you won't be getting a printed bulletin this week. Sharon was able to get into the building for a little while to finish up the bulletin, and we did get that out by email, but we were not able to mail it. And to be honest, I'm not sure you would have gotten it if so. I think we've got mail one day this week, so I guess Monday was a holiday or something. But anyway, you won't be getting that. As far as prayers and things like that go, our brother Willie Wright, he had knee replacement surgery on Monday, so he braved the weather and was able to get over and have his replacement done, and he was back home that evening recovering. So as far as I know, he's at home and recovering, but continue to keep that family in your prayers. And he's been able to overcome a lot, and he's a strong-willed person, and so hopefully this will help him to be able to get around a little bit better. And of course, many of you already know, but some may not. It's with I guess sad news or mixed emotions that we have to announce that our brother Ben Jones passed away early yesterday morning. A memorial has been planned for him at the Rivergate Church building. That will be on February the 27th, so that's a week from Saturday at 1 p.m. So those are some things that are coming up, and you know that the snow is coming down outside. And of course, we're not in the building tonight, and I will be in touch with the elders. I've already talked with them a little bit, but hopefully we'll be able to see what's going on with this weather, what comes tonight, what the temperatures are looking like over the next few days. I guess I'm saying all that to just say, be on the lookout for the weather, for your email, for phone trees and things like that as far as services go for Sunday morning, and we'll get a message out to you just as soon as we can, as they can make a decent decision along those lines. So those are some things that you needed to know as far as the announcements. As far as the devotional goes for this evening, I hope that after these devotionals, I know they're not very long, but hopefully after these things are over, maybe you can find something to study or to talk about with your family. To continue that along those lines. But I've got a kind of, I know this is probably not surprising to you, but I've got kind of a wild and crazy story to share to start this thing off. I came across this story this week, and I thought that it's funny, but I think there's a thought that we can get out of this. Now, this is going all the way back to 1982. This is how it goes. A 33-year-old truck driver in Los Angeles made news. Abject boredom prompted Larry Walters to go out and buy 42 6-foot weather balloons, a huge tank of helium, and some rope. He figured on tying the balloons to his lawn chair, filling them with helium, and gracefully floating up a few hundred feet for an aerial view of the neighborhood. As his neighbors watched, Larry secured his lawn chair to the bumper of his Jeep, and one by one he filled the balloons with helium. Then he tied them to his lawn chair. Before liftoff, he provided himself with a two-way radio, a parachute, some jugs of water, a couple of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and his BB gun to regulate his altitude by shooting out the excess balloons. When he was ready, he yelled, "Let's go!" and his neighbors cut the ropes. But he didn't slowly rise 100 feet. He shot up so fast that he lost his glasses, climbing over 1,000 feet per minute. At one point, he climbed to over 15,000 feet. For several hours, he drifted in the cold air over the Pacific, near the landing pattern of the LAX airport. Eventually, a pilot of a DC-10 reported that he had passed a man in a lawn chair with a gun, and the control tower told him to report immediately upon landing. They thought the pilot was drunk. Are you surprised? Well, eventually airport officials sent up helicopters to rescue the man. On the ground, Larry found himself surrounded by TV crews, the police, and fire and rescue squads. It was a major event. One of the reporters asked, "What in the world made you do this?" Larry thought about it for a moment and said, "A man just can't sit around." Now, if you think about this, out of boredom, this man tried to take up a discipline, the discipline of aviation, which he had no training in. He didn't know anything about. He was thinking that he was going to tie these balloons, those weather balloons, to his lawn chair, and he was just going to gracefully float up. But no, he's going up at 1,000 feet per second, or per minute, as the article goes, all the way up to 15,000 feet. So his lack of knowledge in this area nearly cost him his life. So you think about this for the adult class last week. If you remember, Louis was talking about, he pointed out that there's going to be a judgment day. That is a theme that we just cannot overlook in the Bible. It's throughout the New Testament. There's hints of it in the Old Testament to do with the wrath of God and things to do with judgment. There's always going to be a day of God's judgment, but we're looking to a day that everyone is going to be judged. Everyone is going to face the judgment. Now, when that happens, we also know that there are going to be people that fall on the wrath of God. And I believe that there are two main reasons that people are going to be on the wrong side of the judgment. Two main reasons why people are going to fall on the wrath of God. First of all, there's going to be people who simply reject God, as they did in Hosea's day, or Hoshea's day. Hosea chapter 4 verse 6 says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because you have rejected knowledge, I reject you from being a priest to me. And since you have forgotten the law of your God, I also will forget your children." So if you think about it, the Bible says it was a lack of knowledge, but the reason was, it says, because you have rejected it. And I believe there are going to be countless people that are going to be lost because they simply turn their back on God. The knowledge is out there. I was reading some statistics on the Bible today and how it's been the best-selling book for so long, and I was thinking, how in the world could anyone even start to guess at how many copies of the Bible have been sold? One thing I saw said 5 billion, but my guess is that's probably low because they're out there everywhere, and so it's readily available, but people are going to reject the knowledge of God. Then there's going to be those that tried to do right but failed. Again, I think it's related to a lack of knowledge. They're going to fail to do what's essential. And I know this because this is what my Lord says in Matthew chapter 7, verses 21 through 23. "Not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven." So not everyone's going. The one who does the will of my Father. That's what that verse says. Verse 22 says, "On that day, many will say to me, 'Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and do many mighty works in your name?' And then I will declare to them, 'I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness,'" or you who practice lawlessness. So these people, they've been doing many works in the name of Christ, but apparently because of lack of knowledge or maybe for some other reason, they were not doing the things that were essential. Now, wouldn't it be sad to work for a lifetime and find yourself hearing those words at the judgment, "Depart from me, I never knew you"? Now, I'm not going to tell you that you can take up the Bible and completely master that thing, because you can read it over and over and you're going to continually find things that you're curious about, things that are hard to answer. But what I do believe is that it's fairly simple to figure out what a person needs to do to be saved. All you've got to do is look at it and study a little bit, and you can easily figure those things out. And if you feel like you can't figure those things out and you've been looking at it and you need help, then me or someone else from Rivergate Congregation would be glad to sit down and study the Bible with you. And I think in just a pretty short period of time, we could flesh out the things that need to be done to make sure that we're not on that side where Jesus is saying, "Depart from me, I never knew you." It takes a little work, it takes a little study, but I think it's going to be worth it in the end. Heaven will surely be worth it all. Friends, I want to thank you once again for tuning in to our video. I pray that you'll watch this, that you'll discuss it with your family, that you'll share it with your friends, and I pray that you have a blessed week.